Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Hope you all are having a fantastic day, or at least you've had a fantastic day. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan and Archie and Baby Lily and Mama Doria and Pooh and Guy and Chickens and Mama Mia. All of us here at Sussex Squad. Hello, hello, hello. And as you are looking at, my goodness, our Harry was out and about in Texas. I think this is about the third or what is it, the second or third time we're seeing him in Austin, or at least in Texas. I don't remember if it was Austin. He was the last time I saw him there when he went to see like the rodeo thing there. But he seemed to be having a great time in Texas. So, there you go, Harry. But obviously, he was at the Formula One Grand Prix in Texas on Sunday or yesterday and having a fantastic time, it looks like. And I know it's so wonderful to see Harry out and about. We've seen him at a bunch of different things before. Like the last time we saw him out on his own was at I think the Miami LA Galaxy. I think it's Galaxy they're called, the soccer teams, not football, but soccer in America. I don't know why we still are at soccer. It's like the rest of the world is football. In America, it's soccer. Don't ask. But anyway, he was there. We also saw, well, actually, him and Meghan at basketball. I think when the Lakers were in playoffs, and we see him here. We saw him at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, whatever, with Princess Eugenie, and so he loves going to these things. It looks like Meghan is just not into this sort of thing at all. It's like, kudos, Meghan. I mean, she dragged him off to Beyonce, so. It's so funny. Like I saw pictures of other guys, like celebrities. The obviously the women are there, like they're major Beyonce fans. It's like they drag their boyfriends or husbands off, and they all have the same look. I remember when we first saw the first pictures we saw of Harry, it looked like Harry's like, what am I doing here? But then, of course, we saw pictures and videos of him dancing and all of that stuff, having a great old time. But it's very funny. But anyways, it's just good to see how Prince Harry, and no, he was also there with Alex Robichaud. That's Alex in the blue cap, baby blue cap there. And Alex obviously is the CEO and founder of Better Up, where Harry is the CIO. So it kind of looked like a guys' weekend with Alex, and also too with Meghan's friend's husband, the other guy that was with them. I don't know what his name is, but one of Meghan's besties' husband. I've seen them all together before. And so he was along. So it looks like a guy's weekend, or at least a guy's day, in Texas. Don't know when they got there, don't know when they've left, but it looks like they were all having fun at F1. And obviously, Prince Harry has a long history, since he was a little kid. And these are some more pictures of him. I mean, we've seen that's him with Alex in the blue there. And I think the gentleman with him at the top is, I think he is the head or at least the captain or something of I don't know, motor racing. So this is a whole different world for me. I don't know who these people are, other than Lewis Hamilton, who I know at the bottom there, bottom right. Yep, that's Lewis. And we've seen Harry and Lewis. They seem to be very good friends. We've seen them together before, and so. But Harry, again, this is part of his world. And since he was a little kid, and it's so funny seeing photos of him with Princess Diana taking him to whether it was a Grand Prix or just going to see the car with the cars and stuff. I mean, since he was a little kid, he was all up into this stuff. So, it's like people like to say, like, oh, Harry has changed. He has not changed at all. He's the same Harry. He loves the same things. And it's great that he's able to do it now on his own. There's no pressure. There's no royal anything that he has to do. He could just go, just hang out like Harry yesterday in a polo shirt and jeans and just in Texas just doing his thing. And it's just like, that's the way to do it. So kudos to Harry. And the wonderful thing about it too that I saw was all these the race inside of what is it, Mercedes and F1, and they were all tweeting, they were all so excited to have Harry there. And again, he's like part of the team, you know. I think he went there as a guest of Mercedes. And so it's like, oh, you go, Harry. I mean, I hope, if they're all getting, making a lot from publicity and all of that stuff with him being there, I hope they're paying him. I was like, I'm like, don't be giving people free publicity and free advertising off your name. You better be paying this man for coming there and giving you all this great publicity in the US. I don't know how popular racing is in the US. Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to it. I am not a racing fan at all in any sense of the word. So, and I know nothing about any of it. All I know is that I like Lewis Hamilton. Before he was knighted. Before he was knighted. I mean, I still like Lewis Hamilton, but I don't pay as much attention to him ever since he became a knight. It was like, I don't know why you accepted that, but okay, that's you. But anyways, so great fun it seemed to be had by all. I'm just happy Prince Harry was out and about doing fun things with the guys. And, we've seen Meghan doing some, stuff with her girlfriends before. So it's just awesome. It's awesome that they both have. And that's so healthy for a relationship. Like, you can go off and have your guy time. I can go off and have my girl time. And then we come back together. So I love that. Absolutely love that. So kudos to Prince Harry having fun in Texas. And so away from that wonderful, wonderful event, and we know I think it's next week coming up. Yeah, next week actually, going over to Shutter Island for a minute. Well, probably will be there for a little bit, but it's always kind of sad when I leave like Harry and Meghan and have to go to the others, and you're like, But that's okay. That's okay. Welcome back. Welcome back to Harry in a bit. But I ran into this tweet earlier today and I was like, oh God. William Samoa Ruto, PhD, Kenya. And this is a tweet I ran into. Kenya is honored that King Charles III and Queen Camilla has chosen our country for their first visit to a Commonwealth nation. This choice is a testament to the depth of our relations and mutual beneficial nature of our partnership. The visit is a significant opportunity to enhance our collaboration in various areas of shared interest. And who is Mr. Samoa Ruto? That's right. He's the president of the Republic of Kenya, who is honored that King Charles and Queen Camilla has chosen Kenya. It's a great honor for him, and it's just like, oh God. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Mr. Ruto also tweeted the State House Kenya, Nairobi, met the British High Commissioner of Kenya ahead of the state visit of the king. So they're all in preparation for the state visit of the king with the High Commissioner who the king appoints, by the way. Not theirs. I guess normally if they're, King Charles is like head of a state of a country, really. If he's the head of state, then they appoint him. But I don't think it's the same in Kenya. So he's not the head of state there. But it's just very interesting to me. Just the language of this, that they're mutual beneficial. Basically their relations and their mutual beneficial nature of their partnership. And I was like, that's not true, right? Because there's like that imbalance there where they have all the money and you don't, and they have all the power and you don't. And yeah, how that works. To read this, it looks like they're on equal footing and they're equally beneficial. It's like, there's that little bit of an imbalance there, and it's the reason why we know that is because we're still getting letters like these from your people. Apologize to Kenya for colonial atrocities. Koigi Wamware urges British King Charles. And this is the letter I was mentioning the other day that I was just like, I don't even want to read this because it's the same thing that's nothing is going to happen. Nobody is going to pay attention to this. But this is what he says. He says, ahead of the planned visit to Kenya by British King Charles III, former political detainee Kwiji Wamware, hopefully that's how he says his name, is asking for a formal apology from him over atrocities committed during colonialism. Mr. Wamware wanted the king to admit a liability and offer reparations to Kenyan family who lost their loved ones during the struggle for independence when British soldiers executed thousands of Mau Mau fighters. According to the former Nakori North MP King Charles must be reminded of the painful events of the brutal war waged by the colonial government against Kenyans between 1952 and 1963. In an exclusive interview with The Nation, Mr. Wamware regretted that British government butchered Kenyan heroes and buried them in a disgraceful manner, with some graves yet to be identified, most notably that of Dedan Kimathi. And so he's passionate about wanting to get reparations, wanting to get an apology from King Charles. But as we just looked at, that's what, the people want. But that's not what their government wants. As we just looked at, their president's like, oh, I am just so honored. I am just so honored that he would look upon us and that he would sprinkle his fairy dust on us and grace us with his presence. We are just, bow down and worship you. They're not at the place where they're going to demand from King Charles reparations and apology. This is going to be where King Charles and Camilla is going to come over and they're going to be dancing and singing and whining and dining them. And they're going to soak up all of that and they will not care. They will not be apologizing and they definitely will not be bringing reparations. Not as long as we have as we just looked at, not as long as this is the attitude. Not as long as this colonial mindset is the attitude. That Kenya is honored to have them choose. It's like, oh my God, that they chose Kenya. These people, this man is not going to demand reparations. This man is not going to demand an apology. He's sitting in a place of gratitude for the little, royal fairy dust dropping on him in about a week. He's not going to be doing that. It's going to be the Kenyan people getting out on the streets and embarrassing them. It's going to be the Kenyan people out there protesting like the First Nation group in South Africa. Because that's what it's going to take. These governments are cowards. They're not going to do anything. They don't want to upset their power. They don't want to upset the privilege that they have right now. And for them, not welcoming and falling prostrate before King Charles is going to upset that power. And they don't want to lose that. They're not there to fight for you for reparations. They probably wish you would just stop talking. Because, it's uncomfortable and they wouldn't want to make the prince and his king and the king and his queen uncomfortable. They don't want that. And so, they're in the place of where it's mutually beneficial to us. We're partners. Like, that's where they are. So, Mr. Kyoji Wamware, I feel you, boo, but I don't think your government does. I don't think this is not going to happen for you. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen. Not as long as you have that person and that kind of mentality in power. That's not going to happen. So we've seen these before. You might as well save your ink. until you have reformed and transformed the mind out of, that slavery, this is all just wasting paper, ink, and your time writing these things, because the government, their mind is still, colonized. And so they are not in the place of freedom where they can make these demands. They're not there. And so, yeah, just I wish you luck, but dude, I don't think this happening for you. Anyways, moving on. Speaking of King Charles, we are right back at King Charles corruption. Yeah, we've done so many series on Prince Charles corruption. I was just like, I think I know them by heart now. It's just like, and what do you know? The Met Police have obviously done nothing. Um, they have done nothing, to with the last cash for access scheme that King Charles and his men were part of. And of course the British, the Met Police are like, nothing to see here. Never mind the fact that there is evidence upon evidence upon evidence of cash for access. You took money to give Mr. Mahfouz bin Mahfouz, honors. There's photos, there's letters, there's a whole much evidence. And the police force are like, he's our king now, so let's turn a blind eye. Nothing to see here. And, when you see stuff like that, that's not the only person. I mean, we know he has taken money from the Bin Laden family. He's taken money from I think his name is, I don't remember, this Russian dude who was like freaking out because they took his money and he couldn't figure out why they put his money in a place where he didn't tell them to put it. It was a whole big mess. We also have this other person with his Queen Camilla's nephew, Ben Elliot, doing the cash for access thing to give them access to Charles and the rest of the royal family. It is crazy. They have all this evidence. But the Met Police are, nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. We're just going to shove it under the carpet and never to see it ever again. Our king is innocent. And so are all his henchmen. Innocent. Just innocent. Let's just pretend nothing happened. There you go. Magic, the royal magic, but as we know, real life is there, and more of these cash for access, cash for honest mess are going to be coming out, because King Charles has been alive for 75 years. He's been doing this mess for years, and more of this stuff is coming out. So needless to say, the last couple of days, the British press have been doing everything in their power to distract and, attack the Sussexes with lie after lie and just ridiculousness after ridiculousness, all to distract the squad from the fact that Charles is most likely involved in yet another cash for access scheme. And so here we are. This story just dropped today at the Sydney Morning Herald. King Charles asked Pratt to cease payment outside charity. And you're like, huh? Who is that? Yeah, King Charles is at it again with his cash for access mess. And it is just the most, you want to believe that these people are on the up and up. You want to believe somebody who has the kind of money that King Charles has, he wouldn't get caught up in these mess. But yet time and time again, we're right back here. And if there were, legitimate press, legitimate journalism in the UK, someone would be asking the question about King Charles and these shady money deals that he does. They should be asking question like, is he doing is there money laundering involved? Why would he take cash in a bag? Why would he take cash in a suitcase? Why would he have a whole bunch of euros, a whole £1,000,000 euros in cash? People would be asking this question, but because there is no journalism in the UK, and there's really no real Met Police when it comes to the royals, because they're above the law anyway, none of these questions are asked, and they're all again pushed under the rug. So when this when this story dropped early today, I wasn't surprised. And I'm hoping, no squatty is surprised because we've been, keeping up with this mess for how long now? A year, 2 years? Anyway, so this article dropped today. It says secret tapes have captured Australian billionaire Anthony Pratt, claiming royal advisors asked him to cease payment when to the then Prince Charles outside of charity donations to avoid the appearance of a royal scandal before Charles' ascension to the throne. Mr. Pratt description of his financial dealings with Charles is captured on covert audio recordings of the Australian businessman, in which he discloses how he used his wealth to cultivate powerful global figures, including the royal, in hopes that they will one day be useful. And it's very interesting that they said, they asked him to cease his donations outside of charity. And you're like, okay, so he was giving you money outside of donating to charities? What exactly was he giving you the money for? And what did you do with the money that he gave you that was outside of your charities? Those are questions again. If there was journalism in the UK, somebody would be asking those questions. What are you talking about? What do you mean there's money outside? Why would he just be donating, this billionaire? Why would he just be giving you money that has nothing to do with your charity? And why would you be accepting it? And so, anyways, moving on, that's what it says. In one recording made in mid-2022 last year, Pratt is also heard saying how an assistant to King Charles, who was then Prince of Wales, contacted him to say he should limit payments only to donations to the senior royals charities. They're just so close to becoming the king, and he doesn't want me to bring down the monarchy, Pratt said. He just doesn't want the appearance of anything. It's legal, but he doesn't want to look like anything improper. The precise nature of the discussed payment from Pratt to the royal is unclear, and Pratt didn't respond to written questions hanging up on a reporter from his masthead when called last week. And again, this is one of the quote from Pratt. They're just so close to becoming king that he doesn't want me to bring down the monarchy. It's legal, but he just got into trouble for giving someone a knighthood in exchange for money. So Pratt just literally outed Charles. He's like, yeah, he just got into trouble for giving somebody a knighthood for money. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. In spite of these denials, here he is just completely outing Charles as, yeah, he did. He got into trouble for that. But again, the Met Police swept it under the rug. There is no suggestion that the payment were in any way improper, and Buckingham Palace did not respond to questions. On the tapes, Pratt also referred to a recent controversy surrounding the Prince's Foundation charity in the UK, which was under investigation by police over an alleged cash for honor scandal involving a Saudi tycoon. Charles, just got into trouble for giving somebody a knighthood in exchange for money, Pratt said. The Saudi scandal involved correspondence between Charles' then aide, Michael Fawcett, and Mahfouz Mubarak bin Mahfouz, in which his donations to the then King Prince's charity were alleged to have been linked to supporting the Saudi citizenship application and a knighthood. Scotland Yard closed its 18-month investigation in August, and no charges were laid, prompting criticism from some British MPs. Fawcett resigned as chief executive of the royal charity. Pratt, that's Anthony Pratt, is also recorded pondering the likelihood of a royal honor. I don't think, and this is what Pratt says, I don't think I'd ever get a knighthood. I don't want one.
really want one, to be honest, because it's like everyone's got one, Pratt said. The revelations comes after a joint investigation by The Age, the Sydney Morning Herald, and 60 Minutes uncovered separate audio recordings of billionaire talking about his relationship with mafia-like Donald Trump. Um, and yeah, so they were trying to, they were trying to get Donald Trump, and I guess accidentally ran into the fact that he also has a relationship with King Charles. Trump on Monday rejected any wrongdoing and described Pratt as a weirdo. The 2022 recordings, this is last year's recordings, Pratt says he believed that the then Prince of Wales was undervalued political stock. My superpower is that I'm rich, so I'm useful to him, Charles, uh, meaning Charles, Pratt said. While the precise amount of payment Pratt has made to Charles' organization over over their long association is not known, the businessman boasts on the recording of making multiple payments of at least 100,000 a year. Leaked financial records regarding Pratt's donation and consultancy payments refer to a final payment, HRH, His Royal Highness, of $182,116 in 2021. Charles became king after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth, in September last year. Pratt has been on friendly terms for years, holding private meetings in London, exchanging letters, and supporting charities and each other. And it goes on. But here we are once again with King Charles and some rich billionaire, well, not rich billionaire, some billionaires' money. And it is just very interesting. Like, again, going back to, you know, who in the UK are going to, come up or going to have the courage to really go after the royal family and go after King Charles about this, about what is he doing with this money? Again, the palace, his people are asking Mr. Pratt to not send him money outside of donating to the charity. And my question is, how much money does Charles have that is not part of the charity from Mr. Pratt? And it's just very, very interesting. And again, it talked about it's at least 100,000 a year, and there was a payment from Charles to Pratt, the gas from Pratt to Charles of 182,000, and that was in 2021, just a couple of years ago. And it is really, really wild to me that this has been going on in the middle of the fact that, 2 years ago is when they started the cash for honest, cash for access, cash for honest scheme. And it's like he didn't care, he's still doing it, and it's just like, it's incredible to me. Again, nobody's going to do anything. Nobody's going to say a word at all in any sense of the word. Anybody else doing this sort of thing would have gotten investigated. The Charity Commission, I mean, we remember them. They're like, we're investigating, and then nothing happened, But I don't know if the Scottish one, if they squashed that yet or if that's still going on, but definitely in the UK, in England, it's just like the Met Police has completely swept it under the rug. Are they going to do this under the rug too? I mean, although they said, there's nothing there's nothing illegal about what they did, whatever. But, again, what happened to the money outside of charity that was donated to Charles by Mr. Pratt? Pratt's, his motives are, it's use his money to basically almost bribe rich people to make them useful at some point to him, and it's just like, I don't that's exactly what he said he was doing with Charles, to kind of make him useful at some point, and so it just, again, I'm not surprised this is happening. And I'm also, part of me is just like, is there money? I think because you've seen this so many times, it's like, is King Charles laundering money? that is a valid question. Again, if there were any reporters in the UK, they would be asking these questions. They would be asking and demanding to know, why is he taking all this money from all these shady people? Not that he is not shady himself, you know what I mean? So, but I just, I just thought it was extremely interesting. Once again, here we are with the same behavior. And again, it's very interesting that, he talks about the fact that, yeah, he got into trouble for giving someone a knighthood in exchange for money. Again, his friend just sold him out that, yes, he is guilty. Charles is guilty for taking money for knighthood. So yeah, but these people are so arrogant. I'm not surprised. I would be surprised if King Charles does it again. I honestly would not be surprised at all in any sense of the word. The same cash for access scheme, because I believe if this man wanted one, Charles will figure out a way to get it to him. So, and again, look at all the money he's getting from this man, and it's just like unbelievable. Nobody says a word. No one says a word. But anyways, moving on. Yeah, Byline Investigates dropped this article. Actually, they started doing this investigative thing like a week ago, where this reporter from News of the World decided to have his come to Jesus moments. And this, obviously, this is Byline Investigates. This is with Graham Johnson, who we know used to work for the Mirror and News of the World, and decided to come clean. And so it just this reporter, again with Graham Johnson, he tend to always have these people, whether it's a private investigator or whomever, have these moments of, I would say, clarity and wanting to expose what the dirty dealings of their newspaper, at least this time is the News of the World, but they want to do that. And they write all this stuff. I mean, we've seen this pattern before. We've seen this pattern with Gavin Burrows, the same thing. Yeah, this come to Jesus moment. And then when they trusted him to, go to court to get his testimony, he completely switched it around. By the way, I don't even know that Gavin Burrows is doing this anymore. I looked at his timeline after quite a while, and he has taken down the private investigator firm. He's taken down anything about Harry. He's taken down everything. And so who knows what he's doing now. He's a little bit cuckoo, that guy. But anyways, this is another one now who has have his come to Jesus moment and has, decided to come clean about a story that they were involved in. They've chosen to remain anonymous, but they've decided to come clean about a story that they wrote about Prince Harry. And, that Prince Harry, when he was 17 years old, and we know from Spare how horrendous the press was to him, and the lies and trying to set him up, and, just even Charles, his father Charles, using him and using the whole drug thing to make himself look like, this great dad, and Harry just looked like this druggy 17-year-old. But this reporter, he was working, he said he or she was working on this other case, and then the News of the World editor called them to go, because apparently William, as you can see here, they were having this party, this like polo party. And although he didn't want to, do the story, he dropped what he was doing, the story that he was working on, and decided to go and basically scope out the place and to see, because they already had this idea that there's going to be cocaine and all of that stuff there. So that's why the two reporters were there, to catch Prince Harry. And it's very interesting because at the beginning of it, one of the things you see is that it says, after an afternoon spent watching toughs, those rich folks, to use a tabloid parlance, including Prince Harry, Prince William, and Zara Phillips, now Tyndall, on a bike with polo sticks, a slightly bizarre activity to behold. All it took was a little chutzpah and a flash of our tickets from the polo, and we were in the after party. I'm unclear that I had expected. I'm unclear as to what I had expected from a royal party: tuxedos, walls, champagne. But I know what I hadn't. And so he basically, him and this other reporter that they assigned two of them to this story, went to this party, and what they are thinking of, this rich folks doing stuff, turned out to be just William, Zara, and Harry at this basically teenage party with sodas and drinks and I guess food and young people, teenagers, and barely out of their teens people, just having a party. And they even mentioned the sticky floors, and it was nothing to write home about, basically. And so, you know but their assignment was to go and to get, find drugs that was on them, and or scope the place, and investigate to find some kind of, because they needed to write a story about zoning on Prince Harry. And again, if you look at the whole thing, um who was at this party? Prince Harry, William, and Zara. Those three were at the party. Those three were involved in everything. So the two reporters decided, what the instruction was to them, for them, was they were supposed to case the place. They were supposed to use these kind of things to get, these things to swab, like the bathroom and all of that stuff, to get some trace of drugs. They needed something to get that, a trace of drugs that they would then write about, and it would be their big front page story, I guess. And so they after a while of watching, the kids just be kids, whether they're Harry was drinking, he was drinking, he's underage and shouldn't be drinking, but he was. And William, and they were dancing and stuff, and then he was hanging out with some girl in the back and all of that stuff. So the two reporters then went to the bathroom, which is what they were told to do: go to the bathroom and use all these things to get some trace of alcohol, not alcohol, some trace of drugs. That's what they went for. And so they went in there and they took the swabs and all that stuff, and they wiped whatever it is they were supposed to do, and then took it in, took it into their editor. I was like, yeah, and then eventually they found that there was drugs in the men's bathroom. The women's bathroom, there was nothing, but the men's bathroom, there was something. And so, the editor, their boss, sort of questioned them about how they gathered they gathered information. And this is what a little bit of what it says. It says, our boss gave us a serious look. You did wipe down the surface of the bathroom before the party last night, didn't you? I went blank for a moment. While I thought the implications of the very loaded questions, if we didn't wipe down the surface beforehand, then traces of cocaine found could have been from before the party. My heart sank, as the truth was that I hadn't been told by anyone to wipe anything, and it hadn't occurred to me to do so. The silence was quickly broken, however, by my colleagues replied, yes. Turning to me, my boss reframed the question as a statement. You did wipe them down. And I'm ashamed to say I nodded my head. I nodded my silent assent. In a split second, I had to think about it. I reasoned, well, in a shabby attempt of assuage my conscience, that was the ladies had tested negative for drugs anyway. So it really made no difference. And so the whole thing is that they went in there to get evidence of drugs. They hadn't wiped down the place before the party so that they can have a clean sample. They just went there, and like he said, it never occurred to him to wipe, and nobody told him to wipe anything down. It never occurred to him to wipe anything down. And so whatever sample they took could have been from before the party ever even started. They could have been there for however long that's sort of sat on the surface there of the swab that they got. But when questioned, they lied about it. That, yeah, we wiped it down. And what did they do? They got, yes, there's drugs there. There's alcohol there. And there's definitely alcohol, but there's definitely drugs. And instead of, okay, we have drugs in a place where Harry, William, and Zara are, you know, those are the three that were there. And then this is the headlines that happened. And the headline on the right is the headline that happened from that story. Harry's at drink and drug bash. Now, they didn't say Harry took anything, but I mean, the damage is already done with his picture there. Shame the Prince Harry downs vodka as tough snorts cocaine. None of the reporters saw anybody smoking or snorting cocaine. They didn't see anybody, doing any kind of drugs. They didn't see anything. They simply took the sample from the bathroom, which they don't even know if it was before the party or not, or during the party. They did not know. And they based it on that and then pinned it all on Harry. Meanwhile, William, Zara, and a ton of other people were there. But it only Harry on the front page. This is a 17-year-old boy, and as we remember from Spare, Harry recounts these times where the press did that to him. And the royal family did nothing. They covered for William and leave Harry to have his face out there, attached to these stories. And it's just, I mean, I don't know how you forgive these kind of things. I don't know, Harry, I'm sure he's battling, how to forgive for all these things. But this is so disgraceful. This is utterly, utterly disgraceful. And I know this reporter has come out and, is sharing all these things. And he said this is the only time he's ever, or he or she has ever been a part of these kind of stories with Harry. That they didn't do it. They didn't get this evidence by illegal means. They got it legally. But they felt really badly about it and tried to quit their job, and then, was reassured that they didn't have to, and all of that stuff. And, and I appreciate them, coming out and saying, but you know what? We're in the year 2023. If you're not going to put your name and your face to this story, it's almost like you might as well just stop, And whether they are going to do anything to bring this out in the court case. I know Byline Investigators is reporting that Harry is going to amend his claim when the court comes up again, whenever, the judge decide to call it and whatever. But it's, I think I'm at a point where it's kind of like, if you're not going to put your face and name to this story and name names for who did what, you might as well just stay silent, And again, it's just these like come to Jesus moments. And then, are they going to do what Gavin Burrs did? Where just, whatever reason for Gavin, whether it's money or whatever, decided to turn and basically just sort of brushed away all the things that he said before. And so is this what we're seeing here? I don't know. But again, it's one of those things that it's just so sickening. It is just so sickening that they would do this to children, that they would do this to young people. And these were, these are older people. These are mature people who are doing stuff like this. And at least who were doing stuff like this. They're probably still doing it. And it's disgraceful. But I'm at the point where it's kind of like, you know what? If you don't put your name and your face on this, I don't even know. I want to hear about it. Honestly, I don't even want to, it's come clean up, put your face and your name on it. And yeah. But it's just sickening. It is highly sickening what they did. And again, with the royal family protecting William and letting Harry hang out to dry. Unbelievable. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. staying on Prince Harry for a second. Remember when Prince Harry, basically took the Home Office to court to find out why they approve of his security being stripped. And we know all the drama that happened there. And one of the things that the Met Police and Home Office are, Prince Harry's like, look, I want to pay. I want to pay for my protection for my wife and my children when we, if we come to the UK. I want to pay. The Met Police and Home Office have been so arrogant in their refusal. Oh, we are not for sale. The Met Police is not for sale, and all of this nonsense. Of course, we know that's a lie because they've done it before, and they do it for prime ministers. And we know Tony Blair was the one that would reimburse the police for protecting him. And so we know that whole thing was a lie. But this came out today, and this guy, Jonathan Boyd, tweet this. He says, UK Home Office seemingly suggesting that it is perfectly happy for retailers to buy police protection for shoplifting. The same Home Office that previously argued in court against the Duke of Sussex buying police protection when visiting UK. And sure enough, I went on the site and this is what it says. The initiative, meaning the Met Police and retailers, I guess there's been a lot of shoplifting going on. And so the retailers have teaming up with the police department to create this unit that focuses on specifically this, focusing on shoplifting. And one of the thing part of the document says, and this is on the government UK website, it says the initiative called Pegasus is a business and policing partnership that will radically improve the way retailers are able to share intelligence with policing to better understand the tactics used by organized retail crime gangs and identify more offenders. This will include development of a new information sharing program spearheaded by Kathy Kuhn, the Business Crime League for the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners. Pegasus is the first national partnership of its kind. It is backed by Home Office, John Lewis, the Co-op, M&S, Boots, Primark, and several more who have collectively pledged to provide over £840,000 to get the initiative off the ground. Here they have this program where they're partnering up with the Met Police to, dissuade people from shoplifting. And it says that whole thing is backed by all of these retailers, John Lewis, the Co-op, M&S Boots, Primark, and several more. They have collectively offered £840,000 to be able to take this, to be able to pay, basically pay cops to be able to be on the beat to protect them, And these are the same people who claim that Harry cannot pay for his security to secure his family when they're in the UK. The same people who stripped him, it's just like, who strip Harry of his security and literally are in court right now, claiming that Harry can't pay for his security. Oh, we're not for sale. The Met Police is not for sale. And here we are. 840, I guess Harry didn't offer enough. £840,000 to pay the police, the same police that they claim were not for sale. Unbelievable. And this again shows the cruelty of this country. Let's punish you. Let's take away your security and put your life and the life of your children and your wife in jeopardy, and lie to the public about policing, people paying for policing, lie about it, that's not a thing, that people can't do that when we know it's false. It's unbelievable to me. It's just like, these people are crazy. They are literally crazy, and again, it's like, we don't care about your life. You went against the monarchy, then we are going to make sure that, some way or another, you are not here. We will not provide you security. You cannot pay for it. Unbelievable to me. Absolutely unbelievable. How cruel and disgusting this British government is and their police department, and how much they are bootlickers. It's what the monarchy wants, they will do. No matter what the right thing they're supposed to be doing, they will do what the monarchy says to do. Unbelievable. Anyways, moving on to more pleasant things, back in the US. Our wonderful fave, by association, but fave, Tyler says Tyler Perry, filmmaker and media mogul Tyler Perry has struck a new multi-year first look deal with Netflix. They will see him write, direct, and produce features for the streamer. And so interesting. Again, he's our fave. And we love his relationship with Harry and Meghan. And I'm just going to move the banner here so I can read that properly. Just got to move this banner, get it out of the way. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we drop a video. But this popped up today. News of a creative partnership comes following Perry's act with Amazon Studios in November 2022 to write, direct, and produce 4 features for Prime Video. Perry comes to it after working extensively with Netflix in recent years, including the forthcoming film 688 and Mea Culpa. Executive produced by Kerry Washington, who also leads the starry ensemble 688 Spotlights. The inspiring true story of the first and only Women's Army Corps unit of color to be stationed overseas during the World War II. Kelly Rowlands and Trevante Rhodes star in Mea Culpa, a film about crime defense attorney who takes on the case of an artist who may or may not have murdered his girlfriend. And it's very interesting that Tyler and Kerry Washington and Kelly Rowlands were all together recently, and all together at the same time in the same show with Ted Sarandos, who is the CEO of Netflix. And we all remember Meghan being there, and Meghan being first close to the stage, like sort of in the pit area, and then on the balcony with Ted, his wife. Tyler Perry joined them for a bit. And it was just like, And now reading this, it's like, it is going to be, it's Tyler, and then it's executive produced by Kerry Washington, who's also starring in it. And Kelly Rowlands is going to be working on another one of Tyler's film with Netflix. And again, it was so interesting because we remember this, Meghan and Kelly. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Man, Kelly and Carrie. I mean, it's just like, wait a minute. Is Meghan part of this whole thing? I mean, is she just bringing people in for projects, or is she going to be, that kind of a role would be amazing, for Meghan to be a part of, or is she executive producing? Because it was very interesting that all of them were there at the same time. And, of course, Tyler and Meghan are friends and all of that stuff. But at the top picture on the right, and it's very, very faded, it's part of a video that you can't see well, but that's Kelly Rowland and Meghan in the middle, and Tyler on the right. And the bottom picture is a little bit of Carrie taking a photo with Meghan. And so it's very, very interesting for me, this whole thing with Kelly, Carrie, and Meghan and Tyler. And I'm like, maybe, just maybe, that Meghan is working with them. Who knows? Maybe. I have no idea. But it's just very, very interesting. It'd be very interesting to see how it all work out. And, if Meghan has involvement in it, it would be absolutely awesome. Because again, you look back and you're like, that picture. And then that balcony at the bottom there with Meghan and Ted Sarandos, his wife. And you could actually see Jeff Bezos all the way on the left. The Mama Doria sitting over there as well. And also a Kardashian and Kim Kardashian. No, Kris Jenner is also, I mean, there's just like, this is just an eclectic group there. But it's like, it'd be very interesting if Meghan is part of all of this. But I just thought it was great. Anyway, and finally, talk about Meghan. She was honored for Black History Month in the UK. It says Black History Month saluting our sisters. United Lutheran Caribbean African Committee says celebrating Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, for Black History Month UK, a trailblazer, advocate, and inspiring voice, despite many challenges her entire life. Meghan's resilience during her time in the UK's royal family is a testament to her strength. She continues to break barriers and champion positive change. Let's honor her journey and impact this Black History Month in the UK. And so kudos to her. And I think that was actually kind of really nice from the United Lutheran Caribbean and African Community for honoring Miss Meghan Markle. Well, Mrs. Mrs. or Duchess Meghan, for Black History Month there. So again, kudos to Meghan and all the other women. Meghan is one of 10 women. And so it was wonderful to see them honor her for Black History Month. So anyways, I think that's it. Yep, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia Church, Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, and Black Queen. All or maybe some might be in the chat when I drop this, but thank you so much for the incredible work you do in keeping our space safe. Thank you to our 2 Cents crew for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. I appreciate your support so very much. And to all Gold Star supporters who support in the chat, thank you all so very much. I could not do this without you. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyways, that's it. I will see you all next time. Have a fantastic day. Bye.